Today we're going to talk about three things: environmentalism, politicians, and hypocrisy.
We need to get off of fossil fuels as a dependency we have. We need to move beyond fossil fuels.
We will also introduce a zero-emission vehicle mandate based on British Columbia's policy, requiring 30% of light-duty vehicles sold to be zero emissions by 2030.
I don't think that taxing Sally $10 at the gas pump is going to affect the climate. Instead, what I think we should be doing is we should allow Canadians to unlock our natural resources.
Right now, a lot of people are trying to claim that we're in an energy transition, and that would be basically the elites of the world trying to facilitate a separation of us using crude oil and natural gas resources in place of things like wind, biomass, solar panels, all these subpar sources of energy. Now, as this is going on, of course, it's because of this environmental plea that a lot of, again, the elites have been bargaining for, especially our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau.
We need to get off of fossil fuels as a dependency we have. We need to move beyond fossil fuels.
Of course, what's even better than pricing emissions is ensuring that they don't happen in the first place. And 60% of all new personal vehicles sold in Canada will be zero emission by 2030.
Trudeau is undoubtedly an intense advocate for environmental causes, but the problem with him is that he doesn't actually believe a lot of the things he says, and even though he is willing to throw everything at you when it comes to trying to facilitate the removal of gas-powered cars or plastic straws, he'll do everything against you, but himself, well, he'll give himself a free pass.
I saw Canada Force One. Big plane. It's not quite as big as yours. Ours is very, very. Yeah, well, we're both very small. Very anyways.
On top of all of the jet fuel expenses that Justin Trudeau has accumulated over the last couple of years, recently he was in Calgary for their Stampede event. He flipped some pancakes, went to a Liberal fundraiser event, and he left the city promptly. He barely spent a couple hours here, and because of that trip, he spent thousands and thousands on fuel for his private jet to make this quick little stop. He couldn't even make a full use of a day here. He got out of here in no time, unfortunately.
Well, you all see all the news outlets publishing that Justin Trudeau mobbed by admirers at Stampede. Well, that's not actually what happened. More to come.
Yeah, he doesn't care about it, but he'll make sure to enforce it on you. And then there was his former competition, Mr. Aaron O'Toole. And I think it's fair to say one of the main reasons why he had to step back from leadership of the Conservative Party of Canada was because, in part, due to his stance on environmentalism.
We will also introduce a zero-emission vehicle mandate based on British Columbia's policy, requiring 30% of light-duty vehicles sold to be zero emissions by 2030.
And honestly, I think it's fair to say that the only thing that separates Aaron O'Toole from Justin Trudeau in this category is the fact that Aaron O'Toole wasn't Prime Minister, because a lot of the language that he was using around environmentalism and the advocacies he would put out there were running contrary to the message that he was putting out on different angles. It was one face for one group of people, one face for another group of people, and a lot of people didn't like that. So now we're in the time of finding out who his replacement is going to be, with the CPC leadership debates taking place over the last few months. And recently in Calgary at the Petroleum Club, Western Standard hosted an event where they had a fireside chat with some of the candidates, including Roman Baber. We caught up with Roman during the media scrum to find out exactly what he thought about this whole energy transition situation, and of course its ties to the net zero emissions reduction program.
So I think that has gone by the wayside. I don't think that we're going to see that to fruition, nor do I think that we need to. I don't think that taxing Sally $10 at the gas pump is going to affect the climate. Instead, what I think we should be doing is we should allow Canadians to unlock our natural resources. It's how I propose to unify our country around this message of economic opportunity through natural resources. But I'm not sure, even if you were to cut all emissions, that in Canada, which is responsible for less than 1.5% of all global emissions, that would make any material difference. So I propose that we take this in a different direction and allow us to develop our natural resources.
You know, it's funny, you listen to his answer and you might think that Aaron O'Toole or Justin Trudeau are stronger advocates for the environment. But given all the doublespeak from Aaron O'Toole and the blatant hypocrisy from Justin Trudeau, they clearly don't stand by the message that they believe. And you can see this with the situation with Russia and Ukraine, where a lot of people are asking for the further promotion of Western oil, but Trudeau continues to sequester it.
And the present state of global trade allows some of the world's worst polluters to become free riders to the detriment of Canadian workers.
When it comes to our own natural resources, well, that is the end goal, isn't it? I mean, we are trying to produce our own energy, and that way we can facilitate a clean, safe production. And on top of that, we're coming up with some of the better technology in the world when it comes to producing oil and other resources in a clean manner. So, in the end of the day, I actually think Roman's answer is more environmentally friendly than the other two, even though the other two are hellbound on trying to convince you that you have to do everything in your power to be green, while they themselves are speaking two ways out of their mouth and being blatantly hypocritical about it. For Rebel News, I'm Sydney Fizzard. Leadershipreports.ca is where you have to go if you want to help support our independent journalism. And as I've mentioned in other videos, our journalism is brought to you by you and your donations, so we greatly appreciate it.